probably.
But maybe one of those things where you just have to hit it with a hammer and get it fit.
Hey, what's up guys? Today we're going to do some rust repair. I would think that anybody who's done rust repair knows just how fun it is. This is the first time that we've ever done rust repair, and my gosh, I'm finally understanding what all the guys on those hot rod shows are talking about when they say they hate rust so much. Because we as the viewers only see 5 minutes of their work as they do rust repair, whereas it takes hours and hours and hours in real life, and sometimes it still ends up looking like crap. So please join me today on our little adventure of doing rust repair. It's great. It really is. It's not great. It's not great at all. Okay, so anyway, first and foremost, things I want to get into, the things that we had to replace. This cab, to anybody who's doing a full restoration of a truck, they would probably throw this cab away. It has an incredible amount of rust, and there are holes everywhere. It's just a nightmare. The time that it would take to fix it is not worth the amount of money that the cab is. But since this is not a complete restoration, this is a cool patina hot rod, we decided we would attempt to save it. I've been wanting to do some rust repair anyway, and a part of me regrets doing it, but the other half of me is like, well, it's done now, so it doesn't really matter. The things that we had to replace, we had to replace the floor pan on either side of the truck. The kick panels on the sides, they had rotted out through completely. There were holes you could stick your cold hand through almost on both sides of the floor pan. The rocker panels, or the runners on the sides, the driver's side was, if you're going to completely restore it, it absolutely has to be replaced, but it's not, the integrity of it's not that bad. The integrity of the other one, you could stick your hand through it, so what we did is we had to put a patch on top of that to fix that as well. Other concerns that I had underneath the truck, and I'll show you in an upcoming video, the supports running along either side had holes you could stick your hands through. I mean, it's a disaster. It's got all kinds of stuff wrong with it everywhere. On top of the fact that the previous owner butchered the dash. Yeah, another thing that we have to fix. Anyway, I went ahead and ordered a couple of floor panels, replacement floor panels, and kick panels. Now keep in mind, we decided to do something different on this truck. I'm not replacing all the rockers, I'm not replacing the entire floor pan, so it was more of a custom job. The floor panels do not fit like the way that I envisioned them fitting, which is simply, cut one edge off and just lay it on top of the floor pan. It does not work like that. The kick panels also do not work like that. I had to cut them and fabricate them in order to make them fit the way that I wanted to in order to do a lap joint. So I'm not doing a butt joint on this truck. I did not cut the hole out and the patch out exactly to fit flush. No, I did not do that. I just did a lap joint. I'm going to show you how I did that. I'm also going to include my welder settings into the mix, show you what I did. Is everything absolutely perfect in terms of welding? No, it isn't. Guess what? Welding onto rust is a nightmare. It blows through. The entire time I was fighting the weld blowing through the rust on the floor, and it's very difficult. A couple things that I want you to keep in mind when you're doing a rust repair like this, and a lot of the time that I see other guys doing this, especially if you're doing a lap joint, you want to put some kind of primer in between the sheet of metal you're laying on top of the floor panel. Okay? And the reason that is that water can get back up in there and rust it and corrode it over time and create other problems. What I did is I bought some weld-through primer. I may pop it up right here. So I bought some weld-through primer and I sprayed it on top of the panel before I put down my patch, put self-tapping screws around the patch, and then welded it in. Another thing that I did is I cut, and you'll see in the video here in a second, I put holes all the way around the patch so that way I can weld in those holes first and then weld the outside to make sure that we're going to have less of a chance of moisture getting in there. And then we also follow that up with some sealant, which I will also show you in an upcoming video as well. But all in all, rust is a nightmare. In fact, there was a period of time, my dad and I, we spent an entire 4 hours just trying to figure out what we were going to do, and then didn't do anything, just left depressed and discouraged from trying to figure out how we were going to fix this rust and not make it look like complete crap. But we finally figured it out. I think that our product ended up turning out pretty good. And honestly, it looks pretty good, and I don't think you'll be able to notice it really once you get new carpet in and everything like that. But it is very difficult to do that. So one thing that I absolutely would recommend that you do is, if you do it this way, make sure that you have a type of poster board or very thin paper to be able to make a template for your pieces before you start cutting out sheet metal to fit. Another thing that I want to suggest to you guys as an alternative, if you're doing it this way, this was the hard way to do it. One way you might really consider is, if you really don't care about aesthetics, getting a piece of aluminum, cutting it to fit, getting some sealant, putting it on the bottom of it, putting self-tappers through it, and calling it done. It would be way easier than the way that we decided to do it this time. We wanted to kind of do it the right way, in the sense that you're going to weld it in, get everything to look the way that it needs to look. And it was pretty taxing. That was a pretty difficult thing. I've got a couple of ideas of how I do things differently next time, but you live and you learn, and you live by doing it. So in essence, is this perfect? No, it is not. But for guys like us who are wanting to build their own hot rods and make it look right, do a good job on it, I think this is going to be an invaluable resource in terms of watching how we did it. Okay, so I've just got done fabricating and putting in the floor pan for the hole that was underneath the cab. As you can see, to kind of give you guys a better look about how it has to match this crease. So it's all rotted out back underneath here as well. So that's why I got this replacement piece to fit in. And I'm gonna have to do a little bit of fabricating to get that to fit right in here. I don't know if you can see it that well, but I'll come back and weld that in later. So I'll show you what the bottom of my car looks like right now. The rot was really bad. I could shove my fingers through the floor pan here. So what I did is I cut this out, left this to keep some of the integrity of the patch, and then I cut this out right here. And I got a replacement floor pan, which of course did not fit. A lot of these patches for 64s, 66s, C10s anyway, they're missing this. I really needed this piece because it's rotted out above that. So I can show you back here. So as you might be able to see, there's a big hole up at the top. Well, that's not going to do me any good. I don't have enough meat to get a hold of there. So I had to just cut pieces out of the pan to suit my purposes, and this is what I ended up with. So what I did is I created a template first. For all you guys who are wondering how to do this, I created a template that looked like this. It's a paper cutout, and I just matched this like contour right here. And I created that, and that's how I figured out how I was going to cut this out. And for this one, I'm not doing a butt joint, I'm just doing a lap joint. But what I did is I made it 3/4 out. I've read some guys put a 1/4 overlap, but I put 3/4 to be safe. And then what I did is I put my self-tappers 1/4 of an inch in to hold everything in place and strap it all down. Got your fix of rust repair. I know I certainly did.
No more for today!
Anyway, over the next week, I'm going to try to finish up the bottom of the cab and get it shot with some rubberized undercoating, seal it up with some sealant. I should have a new video up for you guys next week. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy what you're seeing, hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and I'll see you guys next week.